This is Old Mates Tech Shed. Well, the end of another working week is here. It's Friday. We're almost halfway through the year now. As always here at Old Mates Tech Shed, it's Pro Audio Fridays. If I can get through it.
Thank God it's Friday!
MIDI. Music. Harrison Mixbus. Pro Audio. Here at Old Mates Tech Shed, it's Pro Audio Fridays. And I literally mean it. I am absolutely buggered for some reason, and I don't know why. I'm absolutely cactus this morning. On that, morning all. The end of another working week is here. It's Friday. We're almost halfway through the year already. Someone's going to be out there going, oh, geez, old mate, stop swearing at me. I don't want to know that yet. You got a fair point. All right. I don't know about anyone else out there this morning, but geez, I need this. No time wasting, coffee time. I haven't even set the cameras up properly or the microphone or anything this morning. It's gonna be a rough video morning, guys. I don't know what's wrong with me this morning. I really, really don't. All right, now we've got a couple of videos here at Old Mates today. The first, well, I'll tell you about the second. The second video is a system setup and product review video. Well, it's more of a product review video, and it's been a while since we've had one of them. We're going to take a look at the latest release from Harrison Mixbus 11.3, but we're going to take a look at it from my point of view, all right, how I've seen it so far. Some of the features it has don't pertain to me. Some of the features that it does have, particularly from a stability point of view, definitely pertain to me, don't worry. But there is something we've got to do. Well, no, we don't have to do it, but we're going to do it anyway. The audio is going to sound good. The video quality is going to be crap. I'm warning you now. But this is something we have not had here at Old Mates Tech Shed, and it had been a while since I even had one over at Old Mates Backyard Tech. We're kicking the morning off. Oh, God. Here we go. Rewind reality, take 2, format C drive, start again. We're kicking Pro Audio Fridays off with, you got questions about IT stuff. You got questions about home audio or pro audio. You got questions about the VE Series 2 Holden Berliner International Wagon. Then you've come to the right spot. Here at Old Mates Tech Shed, it's Q&A and advice time with Old Mate. Been a while. Have a look at this though. Hey? You can almost see it. Old Mate's Q&A and advice, or Q&A and advice with Old Mate. I actually don't remember what it was. Was it Old Mate's Q&A and advice? Might have been. Or was it Q&A and advice with Old Mate? I should know, shouldn't I? Anyway, it's Old Mates Q&A and advice time here at Old Mates Tech Shed. It's up. Oh. Earlier this week, one of my mates who I know watches the channel posed an intriguing question to me. Basically, Old Mate, if you were going to start out now with a digital audio workstation, which DAW would you buy? Never having used one. All right? Never having used one. So I'm coming from this from someone who may be starting out in the music business. I need to get a DAW. What do I get? Now, that's tough. If you have a good understanding of signal flow, generally the consensus would be you pay through the nose and go and get PT. I don't see it that way. All right. When I started playing around with DAWs, we had Cool Edit Pro. From then, Centrillium software. Now, a bit of background, Cool Edit Pro, Adobe buys Centrillium, Cool Edit Pro morphs into Adobe Audition. Now, if you've used Cool Edit Pro, transition to Adobe Audition's a piece of cake. All right, what would I use? That's tricky. If you don't want to pay for it, but you want to support the project, I'd look at Adore or Ardor, whatever it's called. Now, we all know, side note, Mixbus sits atop Adore. All right? So if you want to get your fingers wet in DAW, start playing around, maybe support the Adore project. Now, to me, and nothing against the developers of Ardor or anything like that, it's not for me. Now, remember back on the old channel, I copped a flogging for buying Harrison and not using Adore. And the reason was I wanted the full package. Now, if I was coming out of learning how to record and mix music, if I was only starting now, wow. Well, I'd definitely be up with the more advanced setups than I am currently. I would probably look at Adore, to be honest. That's where I'd look. All right. If I wanted to do something a little bit more advanced, Reaper. If I had an Apple Mac, I made it funny. I'd probably look at Logic Pro. But if you want to KISS it, probably Adore. And the only reason I say that is even though it is an exceptionally powerful DAW, it's bloody easy to use because it's signal flow logic. And we've seen it with Mixbus. It's exactly the same. Input. All right, now Adore doesn't have this, but just mental image. One of my mates hates it when I say that. Input. Compressor. Or I should say source. EQ. Compressor. Fader. Now, Adore basically gives you a blank canvas, which for someone just starting out is probably a great idea, actually. For me, no. Obviously, I've been around the entire recording industry for so long that going to a blank canvas is not something I want. Now, if you are looking at getting into the more advanced recording, mixing, and mastering scenarios, and you've got the confidence level of someone who's probably been in the industry for 60 years, but you've got 2 years up your sleeve, yeah, you could go with Pro Tools. Now, realistically, that DAW is a blank canvas. It's bloody expensive, but it is a black canvas. All right? However, and I can hear a certain viewer of mine from Melbourne's southeastern suburbs howling at old mate at the moment. And he's probably got a lot of right to. Ubuntu Studio would be one that you could really get your teeth stuck into it because it does have a lot in there. Okay. Now, if you're Windows based though, and you don't want to blow away your whole computer for whatever reason, either split it between Windows and Ubuntu Studio. Now, I say Ubuntu Studio. I'm personally not a big fan of it. I know this viewer in Melbourne's southern suburbs, not far from where I was born, is a big fan of it. It does, and as we used to say over at Old Mate's Backyard Tech, and I say the same thing here at Old Mate's Tech Shed, Ubuntu Studio does for that viewer exactly what he needs it to do. However, if you have a useless system that's doing nothing, you could use Ubuntu Studio. But if you're just looking at getting dipping your toes into the Pro Audio DAW marketplace, Adore would probably be where I'd start nowadays. All right. I'm fresh out. I'm not 46 years old. I might be 18, 19, 20 years old. Oh, God, jeez, there's a nightmare. Yeah, that's a horrible thought. What I would personally do if I was 20 years old now would be I'd be looking at something like Adore. You know, obviously you support them in a roundabout sort of fashion. I do with Mixbus. I'd look at that. Now, don't get me wrong. All right, I don't want people howling at me like usual saying, oh, what the hell are you... Adore is a very good DAW. And it's excellent, particularly if you're starting out, because you can get a real feel for how it works. However, most people look at Reaper, Reason, Apple Logic Pro, Adobe Audition, Steinberg. Now, I say Steinberg as a whole ecosystem because it really is. The three big ones, the three main players were Steinberg, Cubase, Nuendo, Wavelab. Now, we know my allegiances are to Harrison, but I'm an ex-Steinberg user, so I'm still going to respect them. It's just that Mixbus does everything in one package, whereas when I was with Steinberg, I had to have two. Anyway, if you want to go a little bit more advanced than, say, Adore, Reason, Reaper, and you can afford it, Steinberg. If you've actually got a decent amount of knowledge behind you, you understand an analog signal flow, you've been taught how to use a console, a physical LFC, then you can start looking at the likes of Apple Logic Pro, Mixbus, Pro Tools. Okay. If you're talking bang for buck, and I'll get a bit of flack for this, I know. At the top of the pecking order is obviously the industry standard. Pro Tools. I get it. I know. I just hate the program. Now, they do have priced tiering. You could go in for that. And much like Adore, it is a blank canvas. All right? What I like about Adore is you have the editor and the mixer there ready to go, basically. Now, if my mate was going to turn around to me and say, old mate, I want a DAW. I want it now. What do I get? I've got a little bit of mixing knowledge. I've got a little bit of recording knowledge. I've got the basics. Mixbus. Tell me no one saw that coming. Tell me none of you saw that coming. If someone was going to come to me and say, I've got a bit of knowledge behind me, I've used an analog desk, I've got my head around the basics, what DAW do I pick? Well, I'm not going to say mix bus. Of course I'm going to say it. But look, if you're looking for something to dip your toes in, then Ardour would be the one. That'd be the one I would say go to. Logic Pro, now, I'm going to admit this, I've never used it. I know it's popular. I know it can be used as a industry standard DAW. I've just never used it. The ones I have used, I reckon I'm going to have to do something about my webcam soon. The ones I have used, Cool Edit, which means transitioning to Adobe Audition is probably a piece of cake. Cool Edit, Cubase, Mixbus. Oh, see, it's done it again. I'm sorry about this, guys. I don't know what I can do to solve this. Hang on. There we go. I've used those ones. Now, I've settled with Mixbus, obviously. But for any of you out there, you want to dip your toes into the DAW world, go and support the Ardour project. Because it really is, it actually is a good DAW. I just need the Harrison flavour in by default. So there we go, a bit of Q&A and advice. The first Q&A and advice video here at Old Mate's Tech Shed, and the first Q&A and advice video I've done in a long time. Bloody long time, actually, when you think about it. Eh? Anyway, there we go. Stick around, because up next, for the first time here at Old Mate's Tech Shed, but not the first time for Old Mate, system setup and product review returns for me, but it premieres here at Old Mate's Tech Shed. Stick around for that. Have a good one.